Our first guest on the Rooted Voices podcast is Miss Risha Grant. And if you haven't heard of her, you're going to know a little bit more about her by the end, right? And she is a best-selling author with her latest book, Be Better Than Your BS. And she's written a previous book called That's BS. So Grant is the founder of Risha Grant, LLC, an award-winning diversity consulting and recruitment firm, a national speaker and author of That's BS, How Bias Synapse Disrupts Inclusive Cultures and the Power to Attract Diverse Markets. She created DiversityConnects.com, an online recruitment tool for companies and corporate board positions. Former and current clients include Morgan Stanley, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oklahoma, Webco, American Fidelity and Insurance Co., and others. She's a frequent commentator and guest for media outlets. The national speaker has been awarded with numerous honors, including one of 4 to watch by the Tulsa World, one of the most influential African Americans, top 10 entrepreneurs by Engage Magazine, and the Tulsa's Regional Chambers Top Inclusive Award 3 times. Grant currently sits on the board of directors for the National Federal for Just Communities, Leadership Oklahoma, and is an executive board member for the Oklahoma Center for Just Communities, Leadership Oklahoma, and is an executive board member for the Oklahoma Center for Community and Justice. Risha has consulted with Google, Harvard University, NASA, YouTube, Federal Reserve Bank of Kansas City, NBA's Oklahoma City Thunder, and many more. She has also been published in Forbes, Bloomberg, Entrepreneur, Harvard Business, just to name a few, y'all. Risha is all about assessing your BS, unleashing your authenticity at work, building a safe and connected company culture with Be Better Than Your BS. So without further delay, I want to introduce you to Miss Risha Grant. All right, y'all, this is Rooted Voices, and today I have Risha Grant in the room, okay? So we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of basically, her journey.
Thank you so much for having me, first and foremost. I know we've been trying to do this for a minute, so I appreciate it, and I'm just glad to be here. I'm ready to talk.
I'm glad you're here. I really
am. Let's do it.
Okay. Yeah. So, basically, I want to start with the fact that you're a 2-time best-selling author, correct?
1-time best-selling author.
One time?
Yeah, 1 time.
Okay, so on your second book or your first one?
My second book.
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us about your first one?
Yeah, for sure. So the first book was independently published by me. So I did the whole Amazon thing, and I really wasn't trying to become a bestseller with that book. The whole goal was to use it to become an authority to other people in my field, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion, and then to be able to sell it in the back of the room. And it worked. I mean, we were amazing with that. For some reason, if you write a book, people think you know something. So even if you already know it, they think you know something. So that was a whole process behind that first book, a whole thought process.
All right. And so what inspired you to do that? Because I know you had started your LLC at the time, Risha Grant. Yeah. So can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. So I started the LLC. I've been in business 25 years. So I think my first LLC, was the 90s, like late 90s when I started it. And it was
you don't look that,
Oh, I'm gonna be the big 5-0 next month.
Whoa,
that's a whole podcast. I am like tripping off of that, to be honest.
Black on crack.
I know, but wow, 50. At least it doesn't look like it did when my grandma was 50. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, you got wisdom.
Yes. But so I started that LLC because what I learned about business, and especially as it pertains to Black folks, we don't do the legal stuff. We don't take care of business. So I had an LLC probably before I needed one. Okay.
Before you went to the state and filed for an LLC.
Yes. Okay. I probably did not need it at the time, because you can be a solopreneur, and you don't need all of those things. But when you start thinking about money, and that's the thing, my mindset was I wanted to be a millionaire. So I started thinking about money, and even though it took a while to get there, it's important to get your LLC, and it does not cost a lot. So because
you're kind of working as like a freelancer, basically, without that LLC, you're more solo, like you said, rather than a business. And
you're dealing with taxes. So as a solopreneur, those taxes are hitting you personally. And I'll tell you, even with an LLC, it's still you. You're still going to pay these taxes. But it's a little bit different because they're taxing your company and they're not taxing you
personally.
So yeah.
Okay. So so you were doing marketing, right? Your company was doing marketing.
Yes.
And so then, what inspired you to want to go into businesses and teach this cultural bias that you do?
I started out as the first diversity communications firm in the state, and so when you grow up in Oklahoma, and I'm from a small town, Sapulpa, here in Oklahoma. And I would guess that no matter where you are in Oklahoma, you're only taught one part of history, right? So if you're black, you hear about Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Sojourner Truth, Harriet Tubman, Rosa Parks, right? That's about it.
Yeah.
And so I remember we had this conversation in class about Cleopatra, and my best friend in class was like, Cleopatra was black. So then this whole debate jumps up on whether or not she's black, and they were saying how beautiful she was and all these things. And so I remember thinking, God, we got this one thing and we can't have that. Like, y'all really gonna fight with us about, because everybody else is like, it was slavery, it's all these things. And
yeah, all the images I've ever seen in movies, Cleopatra is pretty much white.
Yeah, but she's not. She was Egyptian, right?
Exactly.
So, and she was a person of color. But what inspired me was that, it's like she's black, yes. So what inspired me was that I wanted to go out and teach my teachers and other students more about what black people contributed to the world. Okay. So that's how I got started.
What grade was that?
That was high school, so somewhere around 10th or 11th grade.
So you were inspired right then and there.
Yeah, because any paper they give you, if they told you go out pick your own subject, I was going to teach about something black. Okay. That's what I'm writing my paper about. That's what I'm speaking about. That's what I'm doing. So as I got older and I realized I want to do something with this, like you had two options. You could be a teacher and teach Black history, or I'll never forget my advisor was a Black.
Won't get paid nothing in Oklahoma for that.
Nah, you can't even teach it right. So, but I had a Black advisor at Kansas State who said, there's this company that goes around. They put on these plays basically where you can dress up like the Harriet Tubmans and the Rosa Parks, and I'm like, that ain't me. that wasn't my thing. Right. But diversity came into my sphere of thinking, of knowing, and I thought, this is it. I get to marry my love of communications. Okay. With my love of Black history. As I got further into it, I realized it wasn't just Black folks that was having issues. It was Hispanic folks. It was LGBT plus folks. It was women. It's all these people, and so that's what started it. I said, they don't write ads for us. They don't talk to us in the right way that will help them to sell their products or services. There's a lack of respect to even learning about who we are. So that's how I came up with the diversity communications firm, and started trying to figure out how can I get Black people on TV, like for commercials, because I never seen a lot of Black commercials when I was growing up. Yeah. So I started driving around in my car, just going to businesses in North Tulsa, figuring out how to sell them commercials, something that was affordable, that would put them on during a time where people would really see them. Because back then you had Martin, you had Cosby Show, you had you had all that stuff.
More Black shows.
Yes. Fox was lining it up, right? So so I figured out a way to sell commercials at an affordable rate to get Black folks out there. Okay.
Now hold on to the mic. Okay. So what networks did you go through, in order to do that? Did you have your own camera? Did you go up in there with your camera, or did you have a team?
Nah, it was a team. Yeah, you got to get down the road a little bit to have a team, right?
I know this.
Yeah, no, I really didn't. I had some people in my life that I was really blessed to know that helped me along the journey. But so my first job was at Fox, 23 out of college, and I produced commercials for them. Okay. And I got laid off because they just kind of had a shortage, and I was the last one hired, least amount of experience. But my boss, he was in tears when he let me go because I just signed a lease on my first apartment. So he made me a deal. Because Fox used to get a lot of calls back then to do weddings and boat shows and all these things they didn't do, and they would just turn them down. He said, I'm going to give them all to you. Oh, wow. He said, he said, now if you tell anybody, and this is an older white guy, love him to this day. He said, you can come up here, borrow the equipment, I'll come up here on the weekends so you can edit it and make the commercials. Wow. He said, if they catch you with the equipment, you're on your own. I don't know nothing about this. Right. But he did that, and that allowed me to start my business. So at first I had those cameras, and then my mom helped me get a camera. Okay. And then I remember just finding people to collaborate with. Like, I didn't really feel like I was that great at editing. I didn't like it. I found this guy who was great at it, and we were able to come together and just work together. And it was a really long journey. And I think it's through those things you start figuring out what you really want to do, because that was before I even really got into diversity communications. That's what helped me get there is, you know what, I don't see any Black folks on because I was writing commercials for Fox day in, day out. I never saw any Black companies. And so I asked my boss, do y'all not not going to the salespeople, not try to sell black companies or what. He had no idea. So to me, it was a wide open market. So I had this idea that if I could get, I think it was a long time ago, 10 or 15 companies to pay $350 or $500 or something like that for the commercial, I could pull all of that money and buy the airtime and get them on during the time of the Martins and the Cosbys and 10 o'clock news.
Okay.
So that was the goal. So that's what I ran out and did. And you just, when you're in this journey, as you know, you just keep meeting people.
Right.
And, and so I kind of had this team of everybody that had their own businesses that were doing different things. And so we just made it work. I mean, I'm just a straight hustler. I'll go knock. I'll go do doors. I mean, at that time, it was like whatever it was, whatever it needed to be.
Wow. Man, that's an inspiring story right there, for real. Now, asking your higher, administrators or higher ups, and you're saying that they weren't even thinking about it, is that kind of when you realize, okay, maybe it's more to this in terms of now you speak and you wrote a book?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, the marketing, I mean, there was a long time in between there. I did communications, so I've been in business. Go ahead.
What's that time period?
Okay, so I've been in business 25 years. I probably, before I really got into diversity communications, I did the video thing and with the black commercials I just told you, and then I started talking to companies about their black employees. Like knowing, I used to go to this Black Business Networking event every month at the DoubleTree
Here in Tulsa.
Here in Tulsa. Some guys from Williams Executive Management. It's 2 black guys that were higher ups. They started doing it.
All right.
So, I mean, it was really cool. We really need to bring that back. But anyway, I met so many people, and I noticed that a lot of black folks were coming from their jobs for this networking deal, and they were just tired, defeated, irritated.
You're tuned in with your host, Tree, every first and last Saturday of every single month.
Let's go. I'm an author of a book. It's called Black Wall Street. Tulsa's Black Wall Street, Graphic Art History by Dawn Tree, a modernized revelation. I'm also a fine artist. I work abstract surrealist paintings on wood, so I use latex acrylic, aerosol, found objects, and paint on wood. And I'm also a public speaker, so I go around and I speak about my book and the creative process that it took, and primarily in youth spaces, so high schools, middle schools, and universities. I grace the stage in those environments and talk about Black Wall Street.
Frustrated, everything. They
Every
couldn't wait to
emotion in the
leave.
book.
Yes, they couldn't wait to leave, and I was like,
The networking event, they couldn't wait to leave.
they couldn't wait to leave Tulsa. Like when you would talk to them, they were like, I can't wait to get out of here. I can't wait to start working for
That's
this
still here
company.
now. That
Right.
spirit.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. And so I started going into companies trying to sell them on the fact that they needed to incorporate some inclusion into, like, these people were miserable. Companies could not see the value in it. So it took me a long time to reach my 7-figure goal, right? Because I spent, out of those 25 years, I probably spent 15 of those years just educating.
Okay.
Undervaluing myself in terms of pay just to get money, because I was starving. Like, there were times I couldn't pay for the meter outside the office. I had so many parking tickets, I probably was paying somebody's salary up at City of Tulsa, right?
Yes.
So it was it's been a very long
So even though you were
trajectory.
putting in, I see the mic real
Yes,
quick.
ma'am.
So even though you were putting in all that work, like sweat equity, energy, you were still like broke.
Still broke.
Yeah.
Very broke. I am blessed with a family that is so supportive. Some people don't have that, so I know how much of a blessing it is. But I was able to move home twice with my mom. My mom was always my biggest investor. Like, she believed in me from day one. Because I don't come from a lot of folks that know anything about business. I didn't come from a family that had a business. I didn't know anybody in my community. So I would get up, but I read all the time. I read every business book in the world back then. And I would get up and start making calls at 6 a.m.
Okay.
6 a.m. phone book. I know I'm dating myself, but I would grab the phone book. And
that must have been a different time zone that you were calling to.
Nah, I was here in Oklahoma.
People pick it up at 6 o'clock.
So this is right. This is why. So when I read the book, it said that CEOs are in the office at 6 a.m., 7 a.m. because they got a lot of stuff to do. You can get past the gatekeeper. And that was true, because gatekeepers, the secretary, the receptionist, assistant is answering the phone. You'll never get through. But if you call an office at 6 or 7 a.m., they're picking up the phone.
Okay.
When I speak to Mr. Scott, this is Mr. Scott. Oh, wow. You know, and so I'm setting these appointments.
Right. So you started doing that?
I started doing that. I mean, and it's very difficult to make yourself get out of bed when you don't have a client, when there's snow on the ground, when you got to get out the bed and you go and do this thing. And I had an office I thought it would legitimize me as a black business. Right. So I was barely, I remember being behind on so many of those payments and just, out there beating the streets to get the business to be able to pay for that stuff. But I thought it would legitimize me. Because my mom was like, why you can't just do it at the house? And I'm like, well, I gotta, I need to show them I'm serious and all these things.
Right.
And a lot of that has changed now, of course,
Definitely.
for small businesses. But it was something that I felt like I needed to be taken seriously. Right. And so it's been a long journey. So when I would go into the companies and I would begin to talk to them about DEI, I had so many people here that they couldn't see it, right? So in the first companies I started to call were PR firms because this is a communications firm. So I called all the PR firms in the state. Most of them didn't meet with me. I have one, and I have to talk about Steve Turnbull. I don't know if you know Steve Turnbull, but he was a white gentleman that ran Snacky Turnbull, which is like the largest PR firm in the state. Okay. And the oldest. One of the oldest. And so he answered the phone. No, he called me back. And I was so surprised because nobody ever called me back. And he said, I'd love to meet with you. Okay. And this man, he's a true epitome of an ally. He listened to me. He was like, Risha, I 100% agree with you. He said, but you're in a state that is not going to see that vision. He allowed me to do a presentation to his partners because I was so bold. I was like all of 23, 24 years old. I was so bold, I went in there and said, you need to add a multicultural arm to your PR firm, and I need to run it. Now, I haven't really ran a business, like, on this level or anything, right? But I'm like, I got this, I can do this.
But you had that confidence at that time.
I had that confidence. And he let me make the presentation. It was probably one of the worst presentations I've ever done in my life. When I think about it now, it gives me goosebumps because I was so nervous. And it's a group full of white people looking at me like, what the hell is she talking about? Right. And he's in the back like, you got this, Wow. And
he believed in you.
Yeah, he did. And all through the years, this man made sure that my business, if he had a contract that he could bring me in on, he did. If there was a board seat open, he filled it with me. I remember that's how I got on the chamber board. He was the board chair. He had to fill some board seats. He came to my book signing of my second book in August. Okay. I was so thankful. He had retired. He was dealing with some health issues, but they got him there. He just passed away last month. And that man was amazing. So so you have to find those people that believe in you. You got to find that support system. And then the secret to success is truly not to give up. There's no secret. You got to keep grinding. Okay. And it's a grind. Yeah. It's a pure grind. Yeah. Okay. I'm hearing you right there. I've been grinding. And what I heard from that, though, is that it's not necessarily going to be, a whole bunch of people. It might just be key individuals that see you through. Yeah. I don't think it's ever going to be a whole bunch of people.
Right. But some people think it is. Now with the media and social media and followers and all that, people literally feel like going viral is going to make them money. And sometimes it don't. Okay?
Okay, most times it don't.
Yeah, exactly. Elaborate.
It's most times, that's an anomaly. And the thing I'll say about social media, as great as it is, you're still dealing with human people behind the scenes. So you can have all these things on social. Remember, you don't own social. Social damn near owns you. Yeah. You don't own social. So it's like with my next endeavor that I'm going into next year, I am building all that stuff myself because, you hear all the time, Facebook's going to start charging and this is going to happen and that's going to happen. Yeah, and I do eventually believe at some point that may happen. But if you own your own and you build your own community, then you may have a lot of people. You may have people that are there in your corner that are cheering you on. But we got to get away from thinking that we can just make it on social because you're still dealing with people and you still have to figure out human behavior and human consumer habits and not just everybody putting their last dollar on going viral.
Right. Okay. I hear that. So that journey from being broke basically and working hard, how long was that?
all of 20 years.
20 years.
20 years. Now there was some times I had better years and things like that, but I was having to go through some tax stuff not too long ago, and I found like my first year that I filed taxes, I made like $7,000 and something dollars, right? I was like, how was I living?
Yeah.
And then it was 20, and it was 25. It went down to 13, and I remember seeing that. And then when I really hit my peak was probably excuse me, maybe 2015. I started really hitting the the 6 figures. I'm sorry.
20 what?
That's probably like somewhere around 2013. Like I had this whole,
okay.
Somewhere around
like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I started hitting the 6 figure mark, and it was 2020 when I hit my million.
Okay.
So
congratulations.
Now, thank you.
To that.
So the company is now a multi-million-dollar company. But when I tell you everything it took, everything I had to put in to make this work, I don't know. I know this next phase of my life, I don't know that I have the energy for that level of grind.
Well, you're not going to have to.
I hope not.
No. It don't sound like it, because all that sweat equity that you put in and equity period sounds like it's paying off.
Yeah.
And now with your first book, is that where kind of like the incline came in and you were being asked to maybe speak more? I know you just spoke to NASA and Google. You've spoken to Google and YouTube. So did that come from your first book?
I think it was all. I asked myself that too. Like, how much did the book help? I really don't know. What I do know is that what happened is in 2016, I decided to, because 2016 I almost lost everything, and for all intents and purposes, I did. At the time, my partner had a steady job, so that was very, very helpful. And I went to her and said, "Hey, if I'm going to need a year to rebuild."
Okay.
And
you were open and honest about that with her.
Yes, I'm going to need a year to rebuild.
And she helped you.
Yes, and she did. I mean, and we always, did that. This is not a person I'm any longer with right now, but we've been together a very long time, and so we got through that. And it took me about 8 months to rebuild. Okay. And that's when because all the
how did you lose everything? How did that happen? Can we get into that?
Yeah, I think Oklahoma was a very, very tough market, and I'll just be honest with that. Oklahoma broke my heart. So clients,
be honest. How did it break your heart?
They never saw the value, right? And I felt undervalued. So, and I won't say everybody, because I have had some amazing people. Like I talked about Steve Turnbull, there's Allison Anthony, who used to be at Williams, now she's at United.
But it was to a point where you were losing.
Yeah, I was losing, and I was, and the clients that I had could no longer support me, not because they didn't believe me, because other things were going on. And so I got to the place where I had one client, and this is what I want people to know. Like, my faith is everything to me, right? Whether you believe in God, whether you believe in the universe, whatever it is, I believe there's something higher out there than us. There's a higher power, and I had to channel every piece of faith I had, because when I had that one client and I walked away from everything, I said, I can't do this. So I had this whole conversation with God, like, okay, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing the work. Yeah. So now, everything that I know about God and everything that I know about the universe, it's on you to do the rest, right? So I'm having this conversation, and I'm kind of having this mental breakdown, and then my mom has this heart attack. Oh, wow. And I remember, this is December 2016, and I had a really bad investment. I did a deal with this woman for a 6-figure investment that went bad. So everything is happening. Well, my mom goes in, and my mom's side of the family has a lot of heart disease, and we've lost people young. So I'm just at my wit's end thinking, I don't know what's going to happen with my mom. Okay. In that moment, nothing mattered. In that moment, I don't give a damn about this business. I don't care about any of these things, because if this woman don't make it, it just doesn't matter. Yeah, that's your mom. And so at that time, I released it. I let it all go, because the stress was the stress, and it was stress on top of stress on top of stress. So I said, I could only imagine. Yes, I'm going to sit back. And I'm going to let God do what he said he would do. And so I had that one client, was able to pay my car payment, my cell phone bill, and some little things here and there. And I settled into that. And I've never had anybody that I could really count on, right, outside of my family, like having somebody in my life like a partner. And because I'm the type of person, like, I want to take care of everything, right? I'm going to take care of everything. I ain't really, like,
I'm similar.
Yeah, I don't do that. So
right.
It
so
was
hard.
Yeah, but I had to lean into it because I didn't have a choice. And I finished my book. I started working on that book like 10 years before. And I had gotten it back. My best friend is a writer and editor in Dallas. She sent it back. It looked like a 5th grade essay paper with so much red. And because of our relationship, it's so crazy. She went crazy. I was like, everything is red. So I threw the damn thing in the closet, like, the hell with this, right?
Right.
So I pull it out. I pull out everything that she said, and I realized, okay, she knows a little bit. This stuff makes sense. I spent 2 weeks. I didn't answer the phone until after 5. I didn't even open the blinds, which is unlike me. I really got to have sunlight. I didn't open the blinds.
So you was depressed?
Nah, I got on that book.
Oh, you were tunnel vision.
I tunnel vision.
Okay.
I had my tea, my candle, my jazz music, and I rewrote half of that book in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
Because I know me.
10 years and 2 weeks.
Yeah, I said if I have a product, I can sell it. So that was the deal. I was like, I got this product, and what was cool about it is Carlton Pearson, who just passed away, wrote the foreword for the book.
Okay.
I called up his people, and I knew all about his gospel inclusion and stuff, so I had him asked him to write the foreword, and he graciously accepted that. And so it just, and then I got an agent in 2016.
Okay.
I called up this bureau. They wanted to represent me in 2013 when I did my first national speech, but we had issues with video and all these things because they have to be able to see you speak. I spoke in San Diego. Okay. The company that hired me hired this big video team. Something happened with the audio. Okay. So you can do anything but see me. So she said, you were recommended by somebody who never recommends anybody, and I want to sign you sight unseen, but I need to see something. Why didn't I have anything? Okay. So fast forward 3 or 4 years, and I called back. I said, hey, I'm really interested and want to see if this opportunity is still available. What do I need to do? This woman calls me. She calls me back. She says, hey, I'm doing some contract work. So they asked me to call you back. So she and I form a relationship. Okay. Well, a few months in, she says, I'm done with my contract. She said, I have a very small management firm. She lived in Canada. She lives in Canada. She said, I have a couple of speakers, so I'm going to go back and continue to build that. I said, can I go with you? Because me and her we had become friends. Okay, yeah. And she knew the business. She had worked for some of the really big speaker bureaus. And she was like, well, I mean, sure, So we started looking at everything. She's like, I love what you're doing. She was like, we're going to need about a year. So I did everything I needed to do within that year. She did all the stuff she needed to do. So by the end of 2017, I started booking my own speaking gigs. Okay. So I went from nothing in 8 months. I finished out the last 3 months of the year with $30,000. Okay. We went into 2018. And we just started killing it. We probably did, I think we did about 235,000 or something. Okay. That next year, we did 385,000. Okay. That next year, $1 million. So it was just, we started to build, and together we built this thing, and we still, last year was the slowest year I've had since I started speaking, and I know it was due to every speaker we knew was down like 30% because of what's going on with the economy. Okay. But then you add DEI into it. DEI is being used as a fear tactic in this election. Yes. So while most people were down 30%, I'm down over 50%.
Well, I just saw that our Governor Stitt, he just jumped on board with Florida, and they're completely taking the money out of the schools for DEI. I just saw that. Yeah. That was just last week. It
was last week, and they did a big press conference. Like, I was like, really? You sign bills all the time. Why do you need a big press conference for this one?
So what do you think that is?
I think it's bullshit.
Yes, like a book.
Yes, it's, to me, Stitt is the baby Trump. He follows Trump. He follows DeSantis. Texas has the same.
So it's racist. It's complete.
I think so. I think when people don't, if you don't get to know people that are different from you and really understand how they're living, because I think that's what leadership is you understand, whether it's your employers, whether it's people you govern, whatever it is, you have to really understand how they are living. You have to understand how they're different. You have to understand how the system may not be working for them. Who is doing that?
So he's not trying, though.
He's not trying. I don't know.
He's the governor of what used to be the Negro state, and he's not trying.
No, because can you truly have a conversation with me about the Black experience in Oklahoma? Can you truly have a conversation with me about the Hispanic experience, about the LGBT plus experience?
And it doesn't sound like he's trying.
To my knowledge, I haven't had any dealings with state. So that's the thing. I don't really do business in Oklahoma anymore.
I got you.
So that's the other thing. I haven't done business in Oklahoma in about 5 years. Well, I'll take that back. I had one big client for the last couple of years, and then I've probably spoken here 3 times, like since things really took off.
Since 2016, 2018.
Yeah, part of it is that, being at home, like you just don't get the same amount of respect and love, which is ridiculous. But I remember going to.
It depends on what home it is, you know. But Gil Scott Heron does say, like he has a song about home is where the most hatred is. That's what he says. But we're in the Midwest, and I think that's different from, like, say I lived in D.C. for a while. It's different.
It is. It's totally different, and I love DC. I do think that there are some major, there's some major love here. I will say that, but you really
not on a systematic level.
Not on a systematic level. Not at all on a systematic level. So for me, my prayers were, I want to build a global company. I do not want to be stuck in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is taking too long to catch up.
Right.
And so the mentors I had over the years were like, you need to get out of Oklahoma. I never moved because I'm so close to my family, and now I travel so much it doesn't matter to me.
And the cost of living is nice here.
You can't beat the cost of living.
Yeah.
You really can't. Like, I was looking at California one time, I thought about moving to California. I'm like, man, I'm not going to pay that kind of money. I can travel here.
Even if you could pay for it.
Yeah, even if you could, I don't know why you live there. Other than, I do. The mountains and the beaches you really can't beat. But
yeah, but then you can fly there. That was my purpose for moving back here.
Yeah, you cannot beat the cost of living.
Yeah.
And so, even when I look at the home I just bought, it's like there's no way in California I can have that house. I probably could, but not for what I have it for here.
Right, not the cost.
Not the cost.
And then it's slower here. It's a bit slower. I feel like the stress is less.
Yeah.
I get less tickets here. In DC, there are cameras everywhere. So I felt like a slower pace. And then there's culture here. There is like indigenous native culture and reference to Black Wall Street.
Yeah.
And then our elders that are here, there might be a mentality that's here, that I feel has inspired me in my business, which is art and publishing a book about Black Wall Street. But, there's a respect for culture, I feel like, in other places, like when it comes to the dollar, when it comes to the economics, how they push the arts and the culture visibly with money. Now here, I feel like it's been a fight, and you definitely spoke to that when you said it was breaking your heart. You know.
Yeah.
So I got another question for you.
Sure.
So what kind of things do you do for fun? Let's lighten it up a little bit.
I know, right?
Yes.
What do I do for fun? I love to relax for fun. I know that's not really. It used to be basketball, and I still go shoot around and stuff like that.
Okay.
And
you was telling me you had some hoop dreams.
Yeah. First part of my life. So my life split up into 2 parts: basketball and business.
Okay.
Basketball, I quit playing because of the injuries. But my whole goal was to go pro. I made it to D1. So I still like to shoot around. I feel like I went and played in an alumni game in Sapulpa a few weeks ago. I'm just now recovering, y'all. I can't, y'all listen. Knees are swollen.
Feeling it now, huh?
Everything hurt.
Wow.
But I work out. I cycle about 15 miles a week. Something like that. I think when you grow up in that environment, you just know what it feels like not to do those things. I love to read. Absolutely love it. I love fiction because I can really escape. I read so much business.
What are some of your favorite authors then?
I used to love, and I can't remember, Lynn Harris. I used to love Lynn Harris.
Okay. All right.
He passed away, so, I was broken.
Okay.
I'm reading some crazy stuff right now. It's like some fantasy, romance, fiction stuff.
All right.
I love James Patterson's Women's Murder Club,
okay.
Yeah, I know, and there's so many Black authors. Like, if somebody says you should read this book and it's fiction, I'm probably gonna read it.
Okay. So it takes you away.
It takes me away. Like, I can totally not think about business. Like, I don't know how not to think about business. It's on my mind all the time.
Yeah.
Ideas are running through my head. I love massages and stuff. So me just doing a getaway
Self-care.
And so, and I think the fun is really hanging with my family and hanging with my partner and just enjoying them and laughing and that's really what I like about the holidays now. Like, it's just reconnecting with family. I think there's people always tell me people don't really know you. You have to be around you with your family, because I think that's where I can let the guard down and just be Riri from Tulsa. So.
Okay, all right, Riri, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So you cycle. Where you be cycling at?
Well, I bought a cycle, so it's a spin cycle in the
Okay.
house. So I want to get out and do it. I just haven't made that move yet.
Okay.
So
all right.
I'm in the house cycling, but I used to cycle at the Y with Kitty. I don't know if y'all cycle with Kitty, but it's something else.
Okay. All right.
You can walk out of there, but she's amazing. So if anybody's looking for a class, but I do it at home and I absolutely love it. That takes my mind away too, because I'm about to die. I can't think about nothing else.
Yeah, I heard that. Let's see, the Osage Trail here in Oklahoma. I would ride it from probably about Pine, I would say. Sometimes I pick it up from there and ride it all the way to Skytook.
Wow.
Sometimes, yeah.
Wow.
And it just felt like, and then when I was in college, I would just run. I used to run a lot.
Yeah.
And I would run. I felt like I was just trying to escape slavery or something.
You was doing that kind of running, huh?
Yes, it just felt that way, And that's always been like a part of my spirit, I suppose. It's just aspirations of freedom, not feeling free, you know.
Oh yeah, that's my top value, freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I got it tatted on my neck.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
freedom
right.
is everything.
How many tattoos do you have?
3, I think. 3. I'm about to get another one.
You're a baby.
I know, right? I know.
I know.
It's like I only want them every 10 years, and so I'm about to get one. I was trying to get it for Christmas, maybe for New Year's, but I got to put one on my foot that says "Walk by Faith."
Okay.
Because as I'm entering this next phase of life, it's like I just think it's so important. I'm doing this. I'm doing a pivot in my business where I'm pivoting out of DEI.
Okay.
And so into some of my other passions, and so that is. It's kind of scary because I've been in this same place for all of my career.
Right.
And so make this huge pivot.
Can you tell us what it is?
Yeah, for sure. So my latest book is called Be Better Than Your BS. We hit number 2 on the Wall Street Journal, number 15 on USA Today.
Yeah.
We hit all the lists. And
y'all go look it up.
Yes, please. But the book is about DEI, but it's split into 2 sections. The first section is about you, the person.
Okay.
And if you can check your BS and learn about yourself and become more self-aware, then that person shows up at work. So as it goes into the second part of it, it's like, you've done the work, now let's teach the company what they need to do to support you.
Mm-hmm. So now when you say BS, like what exactly are you meaning?
So it stands for your biosphere.
Okay.
Your belief systems that leads to the bullshit.
Okay.
Okay, so biosphere...
It's still recording.
Okay. All right. Biosphere are the circles of influence we've been steeped in since birth.
Okay.
So, if you think about it, when we're born with this clean slate.
Okay.
But then your family, everything you learn comes from the people in your life.
Mm-hmm.
They start downloading images onto your blank slate.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we learn about the world and perceive the people in it.
Right.
So it starts with your family, then it goes to your friends and your peers, then the schools that you attend, the government you live under, the religion you practice, and then media.
Okay.
All these things affect how you view the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I want people to really look at how these things originated for you. So my next company, I'm taking that whole Be Better concept and building a Be Better Institute.
Okay.
So what it is, it's going to be an online, I don't want to say this, like support system for people that want personal professional development. So I started looking at, okay, what does a pivot look like for me? Because, I'm a big journal person, so I got journals from 20 years ago.
Okay.
So I started going through all of them, looking at all the goals I'd written down since my 20s.
Okay.
And I realized I accomplished all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be a millionaire. I wanted to do all this TV stuff. I wanted to write books. I wanted all these things. I wanted to get a Division I scholarship. But when I started looking it up, only 1% of the people get Division I scholarships. Only 2% of women even make 7 figures in their business, and that number is lower for black-owned businesses.
2%.
Less than 10%.
She made the
traditional. Make it let me start that over. Less than 10% of people sign with a traditional publishing company. So I started looking at all this stuff that was around 1 or 2%, and I was like,
I'm about to be a part of that 2% of the publishing company.
Yes, ma'am. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So I was like, how can I teach people? And I asked this question because I work with this firm out of Nashville, and the man, he said, who are you most powerfully positioned to serve? And I thought, wow, that's a powerful question.
Yeah.
And so when I thought about it, I said, it's women and it's black women, because I know the journey. I know what we've been through. I know how difficult it is. I know the challenges that we face more than anything else, because I've been on the journey my entire life.
Yes.
And so this website is going to be, so I'm pulling the word bet out of better, because you got to bet on you.
Okay.
Right? You have to bet on you. And so this thing is going to be a membership website where you are going to get everything that you need to help you crush your goals. So it's inspiration if you need it. Like there's going to be a text campaign like, hey, you got this today. You know, because I remember those days where I didn't feel like getting out of bed.
Right.
You know, it's going to be tips. It's going to be everything that you need. There'll be 2 lives. You'll get all these videos, and the videos are not going to be talking head. Like, we're trying to create something that is binge worthy. You know, right now people they want to binge Netflix. They want to binge the shows.
Right.
So we're coming up with something. So one of the things is called holding court, because I want to bring basketball back into my life. So I'm going to have people playing, instead of playing a game of horse, we're going to play a game of bet.
Okay.
And we're going to talk about, I'll have some big names out there, but really I'm focused on the everyday folks that people can identify with. That's tangible. Like, one of my biggest heroes is my little sister. I call her my little sister, but she's just a few years behind me, but she is my little sister. And I look at her, and she has a successful marriage. She has 2 amazing kids. She's making 6 figures. She went back to school with 2 kids. Like, that's somebody that, because people tell me all the time, I have kids, I can't do it. I have all these reasons why you can't do it.
Right.
You've got to figure out how. And so I have this whole system. So first you're going to, with the B, you're going to look at your beliefs. You're going to look at your beliefs and see how they have shaped what you did or didn't do in your life. And it doesn't have to be this big stuff around race and all these things. It could be something as simple as, you know, I wanted to be a dancer, but my whole family are doctors, and they wanted me to be a doctor. So I'm a doctor, but I don't really care. Now, to me, a doctor need to really want to be a doctor, right? If that ain't something you need to fall into, that's something you need to really want to do.
You got to study for that.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Well, and then, but you got people who don't really care about it. They're doing it because their parents said, this is what we do. So it can be something as simple as that. But you're going to look at that system, you're going to look at the BS that's holding you back, and then you're going to figure out what you want for yourself. So that E stands for envision. Okay. Now we're going to envision it. We're going to look at you prioritizing what has to happen in your life in order for you to accomplish this goal. So I want people to look at that, and because sometimes it's kids, sometimes it's caring for Asian parents, sometimes it's just I haven't worked out the time of my day. So we really need to look at that. And then there's something that I'm really excited to talk about, which is giving up with grace. You know, because we make giving up something that is shameful for people. But sometimes you realize that you got to go ahead and give up for you. Like when I left basketball, I was grief stricken. Really, it was everything to me. But the injuries, I had like 4 or 5 surgeries in 3 years. Oh wow! I got tired. Yeah. But I didn't know about giving up with grace. So I want to talk about that.
That to be like a thing that people are comfortable with.
Yeah, because sometimes you can't make it happen, or you're gonna have to wait on it, or you're gonna have to rework that. So what's your satisfaction balance? Yeah. What's your satisfaction balance? So, and then the T is for takeoff. The tactics to take off. Okay, all right.
Yes, I just thought about Denzel, how he was saying like fell to the top, you know, being comfortable with that. But even more so, it sounds like you're gonna be able to break that down to the point where it's marinated in your bones. Because I think sometimes you can hear somebody say something and even repost it, and you don't really get the understanding of it, you know. Yeah. Because I know some people who never started a business, who always work for somebody, working 9 to 5, don't know what it is to like truly fail at something, do something, fail, or have somebody organize an event and nobody shows up, or 5 people show up, or something like that.
Yes.
And then look on the outside looking in, you could easily feel like that person failed.
Yeah.
But in my eyes, I'm like, okay, that's 5 people I network with.
Exactly.
And that one person in the room might be able to just open doors outside of, 1,000 people that showed up.
You have the right thought process, because I have gotten to a point in my career where I only do main stages, right?
Okay.
It's important to me, like, and I've been, where I'm speaking to 9,000 people,
Okay.
stuff like that. Well, we took this gig, and they said, they were like, it's not main stage, but my rate is over 20,000 now to speak.
Yeah.
So what happens? I get in the room. There's probably like 5 or 10 people in this room, and I realized my ego was in the way, and I'm like, now I don't,
Even after getting paid? Or
yeah, because I get paid. I mean, the same rate. My rate was there, and
But you were still having a feeling.
Yeah, I was having a feeling like I only do main stages, so I'm
some type of way, because there was only 5 people around.
Yes, and I'm texting my agent like, there's like 5, 10 people in the room.
I'm like,
blah, blah,
thank
blah.
you.
I know, but and that's why I had to check myself, because I was like, you know what, I'm going to show out for these 5 people. Give them everything I got, because they took their time to be here. And they deserve to get everything from me. And really, I came out of it feeling great, because I was able to really connect with those people in that moment.
Right.
And so, and I walked out there telling myself, hey, it doesn't matter. Like, I always remind myself, it's impact over income. Because I got into this, because I don't see anything. Let me be clear, I don't see anything wrong with making money. I think it's frankly, I think it's important, because you can't do anything else.
Exactly.
But also, as much as I care about that, I have to care about the impact that I'm making on people.
Yes.
So it's impact over income. And so when I was able to impact those people, it was worth it. So you really, we always have to constantly check ourselves.
Right. Yeah. I know right now I have aspirations to speak more outside of Oklahoma. The last speaking engagement I had was with Miami University in northeastern Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Right, Miami, Oklahoma. And that was a great opportunity to talk to the students. But yeah, I'm totally understanding and hearing what you're saying. And I think that this information is going to be important to anybody, not just Black women, but anybody out there who's trying to make it. Now, I have one last question.
Okay.
Right. Now, you talk about your first speaking engagement and how you were pretty nervous.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So how did you get out of that nervousness,
That's a good question.
Yeah.
It comes from basketball, because I would be nervous right after the tip-off.
Okay.
And so what I learned is visualization, right? So I'm real big on visualization. I see myself on the stage. I imagine what I'm going to say. I imagine what I'm going to, my hand gestures are going to be like. I do that in basketball.
Okay.
And so when I step away and I do that prayer and I visualize things, I go out there and I go into my alter ego. She doesn't have a name, but I had her from basketball, because I'm a non-confrontational person. I don't like a lot of mess. I don't like to argue. Now, if you push me, I'm gonna meet you where you at.
Okay.
Because I got that in me from my family and parents, right? But I'm a real cool, laid back person. But when I would take the basketball court, I had a totally different persona.
Okay.
And I was always you can't tell now, but I was always very small, very skinny most of my life.
You have a good.
You can't tell I got a stomach, but we ain't gonna go there. We ain't gonna go there.
Hey, we're not.
We ain't gonna go there. But I was really small, so I felt like people were just like, they're just gonna push me out the way, disrespect me. So I go out there with this whole attitude that I needed to for me, that I thought I needed to get through the game. Same thing I do in speaking. I go to a different place. It's a performance. And I tell myself, and I remember when somebody said to me, like my partner now, she kept calling it a performance, and I was like, I didn't like the word performance, because I'm like, I'm out here being real. This is me. This is what I'm doing. And she was like, nah, it's a performance. And so when I thought about it, I said, yeah, it truly is, because I'm going out there and I have to go outside of Risha to to act like all these people ain't staring at me, you know, and I'm gonna worry about mispronouncing stuff. So now, when I mess up on stage, I bring the crowd into it, and I'm like, I'll say the word wrong or something, and everybody would just be shaking their heads. I was like, see, I said the word wrong, and y'all still out here like, ooh, that's deep. I was like, come on, y'all, you know. So I'm getting them to laugh, and it helps me to ease. So and it's also disarming. I disarm the audience as soon as I get out there.
Yes.
I need them laughing with me, not laughing at me.
Okay.
So I tell a joke that everybody on my staff, my team, they think this is the most corny joke in the world. They hate it. They were like, when I first started, they were like, please don't tell that joke. My audiences love that joke. They email me about that joke.
Okay, all right.
They hate it. My staff hates it. So they hate that everybody else loves it. So
you need to get a better team.
Sometimes I know. I like sometimes you got to go with your own thoughts. Like I'm telling this.
They paying you to get on stage.
I know, but when you got like everybody in your life, like the joke is horrible. So I was able to tell, because I'm like, I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story to lay the foundation. So I tell this joke, and then afterwards, I mean, they are cracking up like, okay, the foundation is not corny jokes, but I'm glad to know y'all like them as much as I do.
Right.
What I want y'all to know is that this is not going to suck. Okay, let's do this. So by then, we're laughing and stuff, and so. So it's really all a combination of all of those things to take my head out of the fact that all these people sitting here staring at you.
Yeah. Okay.
With a topic that most of them don't want to be in the room to listen to.
Right.
So
you
I
gotta
make
get
them
them
laugh.
laughing.
Because I'm like, you know what? Some of that stuff is funny. I said, I know there are some people in the DEI world is like this. There is so serious, and I don't approach it.
Or
like
angry.
That. Angry as hell. Like I don't approach it like that. I'm like, I'm gonna laugh, and some of this stuff is funny, and y'all need to quit acting like it's not.
Right.
So I'm up there practicing my comedy and all that.
Okay. All right. Man, I love it. And I'm glad that I know you and that Oklahoma has you. You know. And I just wish you the best.
Thank you so much. And I wish you the best. You keep going, keep grinding, keep doing your thing. I don't care what anybody says to you in this world. Like, no matter what it looks like, keep going. Because it's gonna look crazy as hell some days. And you're going to be like, why am I doing this? Because you can't do nothing else. It's what you're here for. It's your purpose.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you. I will.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to Rooted Voices. I'm your host, Dawn Tree. Rooted Voices is a global broadcast that provides a platform for Americans that own something, be it equity in the community, a business, real estate, and even intellectual property. Moving closer to changing our communities. Outside of hosting Rooted Voices, I am exhibiting my abstract surrealist paintings, organizing youth art programs, speaking about Black Wall Street with my graphic art history book, traveling, and most important, self-caring.
Airing the first and last Saturday of each month at 11 a.m. For more information, contact Dawn Tree on all social media platforms at undergroundtree, or visit our website at utreep.com or by phone at 405-310-7291. Rooted Voices is an Underground Tree Studios production, heard exclusively on Urban Radio Tulsa Online.